This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., Brotherhood Credit Union, and Deulis Brothers Construction.
Good morning. Welcome to October and the start of another LCTV News broadcast. Top stories this week range from updates on the education and health fronts to the cultural celebrations taking place throughout this month. We have a double lowdown this week featuring the Lynn Music Foundation and My Brother's Table, discussing upcoming events for the holiday weekend. Here is the news for Friday, October 4th, 2024. On September 24th, KIPP Academy submitted an application to the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education to increase their maximum enrollment from 1,586 to 2,947 students. According to a statement released by the school, quote, "Across our 20-year history in the city of Lynn, KIPP Academy has deeply valued partnering with the community and working closely with families to create high-quality public education opportunities for every student who comes through our doors. With over 1,700 students currently on our wait list, we are committed to pursuing the opportunity to expand our impact by bringing joyful, academically excellent spaces to more children in Lynn. With the support of our families and community partners, we seek to expand the number of students served in grades K through 12 and have filed an amendment to our charter with the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education," end quote. If approved, LPS would lose $24 million in Chapter 70 funding. LPS also currently ranks in the bottom 10% of schools in terms of MCAS scores, meaning that the amount of Chapter 70 funding directed to charter schools doubles from 9 to 18%, bringing KIPP's total to $54 million. District staff gathered at 8 public schools to protest this application. Superintendent Alvarez, members of the Lynn Teachers Union, and Mayor Nicholson were all in attendance, holding signs with statements such as "Lynn Public Schools and educators serve every student every day." According to Superintendent Alvarez, LPS serves more special education, housing insecure, low-income, and English-learning students, and this loss of funding would be devastating. Mayor Nicholson added, quote, "When the charter system was created, no one would have imagined a global pandemic and the kind of setback that would have been for our community. And the fact we're about to be punished for the learning loss is unprecedented and unfair," end quote. On October 3rd, the Healy-Driscoll administration announced the distribution of $20.3 million to 30 school districts through the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative grants, supporting efforts to expand access to high-quality, affordable preschool. These grants are another step towards the administration's ultimate goal of making preschool affordable and accessible for all families across the state. Lynn Public Schools are one of the fiscal year 2025 continuing implementation/maintenance awardees, receiving just over $942,000. This grant will be used to continue implementing the city's plans toward achieving universal affordable preschool, including building relationships with community-based early education providers and care programs, developing a leadership team, or creating a strategic plan. Final Fridays wrapped up for 2024 with a night market and live performances at Frederick Douglass Park. The weather provided one more summer night as the square was filled with local vendors selling their goods while being entertained by featured artists.
it is our final Friday. We are doing a night market. We're gonna have an open mic. We have some really dope performers coming out. Then we're also gonna have 3 headlining performers. We have Voltaire II, we have 40, an amazing band from Boston, and we're gonna have Liana Costa performing with the live band backing her. It's gonna be so magical. It's gonna be amazing. We've done a lot of night markets, and it just kind of seems like a part of like the culture of Final Fridays. Even though we're doing it a lot differently this year and we made it more youth focused, I still wanted to pay homage to where Final Fridays came from originally. We've been really lucky. Like every day that we've done Final Fridays, the weather has been good. More people come, and the same people come back every time. People from Lynn, outside of Lynn. Thank you so much to everyone who has supported Final Fridays this year, and thank you to everyone who has performed, vended, volunteered. I couldn't have done this without you guys. Thank you so much.
The Massachusetts Department of Public Health announced on September 27th that West Nile virus has been detected in mosquitoes collected in Lynn. Of the 10,765 samples tested for West Nile, 164 came back positive. It is most commonly transmitted to humans through the bite of an infected mosquito. While people of all ages can be infected, those over the age of 50 are at a greater risk for severe infection. To protect yourself and your loved ones, take these few simple steps. Use insect repellent with DEET, wear long sleeves, pants, and socks to cover your skin. Be aware of peak mosquito hours during the evening and early morning, and protect your home by draining any standing water to limit potential breeding grounds and replace or fix screens to keep them outside. Essex County District Attorney Paul Tucker announced that Yvonne Santos Lua, 56 of Lynn, has been sentenced to 12 to 15 years in jail for multiple charges of child rape and assault. Santos Lua was convicted by an Essex County jury on August 16th on 2 counts of rape of a child with force, 2 counts of aggravated rape of a child due to age difference, and 3 counts of indecent assault and battery on a child under the age of 14. He was first indicted on the charges in February of 2021. Following his jail time, Santos Lua will be placed on 3 years of probation with special conditions, including registering as a sex offender, staying away from the victim and their family, undergoing treatment for sex offenders, and having no unsupervised contact with children under 18. October is Hispanic Heritage Month, and the city kicked off the celebration with the procession around Lynn Common and a flag raising. Topped off by Hispanic Heritage Month Leadership Awards, honoring 18 individuals nominated by the community to receive this recognition.
I am a proud Lynner, but even more proud Latina, Dominicana, crecí aquí en esta comunidad. I am proud not only to be here with all of you, be from Lynn, ser de aquí de Lynn, pero también soy muy orgullosa de mi cultura latina.
I should preface everything I say with the fact that my dad, he passed last year. And I think the reason I share that is because I've spent the last almost 7 years in Lynn away from my family. And Lynn is the only place in New England that gave me any sense of home. The first time I came to Lynn, there was a garden in the middle of the city. And I said, what was this town that built a garden in the center of it, by the water? And why does it remind me of a place I know? Or when I find food from like 28 different countries around me, I get why people come here because I came here for the same reasons. I'd be curious for you to tell me what brought you to Lynn. What reminded you of your grandmother? What reminded you of your home or your barbecues or your dinners or your holidays or whatever it is that brings you some semblance of joy? So when I talk to you about Lynn, I'm telling you about immigrants, and I'm telling you about queerness. I'm telling you about sacred family time with chosen family and blood family. Lynn was the place that I told my mom, ¿sabes qué, ma? Yo creo que encontré mi casa. Creo que tengo familia acá. Siento algo aquí que no sé, que es diferente. And I don't think I could live anywhere else.
So this afternoon, we are recognizing some tremendous Latino figures in our community who were nominated by their peers. These were nominations that came into us from the community. So I think it speaks volumes to the work that's happening here.
For fiscal year 2025, the Massachusetts Cultural Council has allocated just over $103,000 to the Lynn Cultural Council to fund community events. Therefore, the LCC is seeking proposals from community organizations for this grant funding, with the official notice of funding availability coming earlier this week. The Cultural Council will prioritize applicants giving a voice to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility populations, those who plan to collaborate with multiple organizations or individuals in Lynn, and applicants who provide cultural opportunities for youth and education in the arts, sciences, and humanities fields. Applicants are also strongly encouraged to show their idea through planning by providing documents or plans for collaborations. All proposed projects must take place here in Lynn, and preferred applicants must live, work, or run an organization in the city. In fiscal year 2024, the council funded over 60 programs. Speaking of art, the executive director of the Lynn Music Foundation, Edwin Cabrera, came back on the Lowdown to spread the word about their Lynn Film Festival. Spanning 3 days from October 12th to the 14th, come see several films from locals and participate in a Q&A session with a few of the directors themselves. Hear more about what Cabrera had to say regarding the festival's significance to Lynn's history. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we are welcoming back Edwin from the Lynn Music Foundation. Thanks for joining us again on the show.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
So this time you're coming on to talk about your Lynn Film Festival that is happening. I'm really excited to hear about this. So do you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I'm excited. This is our first Lynn Film Festival. This is something that was in the works because somebody, shut him out, Michael Lacerdo, was like, hey, we should do something for the community and do like a film festival, because I've done one before when I was in Prague, and I think it's a lot of fun, and this could be something that, people will enjoy, and we could make it like 3 days and just like have it be a little bit of everything that represents the Lynn Music Foundation, but also something that represents the community. And so we kind of took the idea and ran with it. And so this Lynn Film Festival will be geared towards Boston metro music communities.
So first things first, when is this happening?
So this is going to be October 12th to the 14th.
Great. And you were mentioning each day has a different theme to it. And on the first day specifically, there's actually going to be a preview of one of your films.
Yes. So I have a film that I've been working on over the past few years. It really started with me and my partner, Chris Martin, we ran this media company called Grindhouse Recordings. Eventually, what we did was, develop a podcast where we highlight local performers, rappers, artists from Lynn. And then eventually I decided maybe there's something that we can do that helps spotlight Lynn a little bit more for people, not just in Lynn, but also potentially the world. And so I started working on this documentary film to capture the story of Lynn hip hop, because it's a rich history that we have here in Lynn. Oh, yeah. And it'll be previewing at the Nile Rantoval Theater on October 12th.
And that's going to be really cool. And that whole first day is all focused on hip hop, you said?
Yes. So we have the preview screening of the Lynn hip hop documentary, which starts at 2 o'clock. And then we have another film playing at 7 o'clock called Wartown Rising. And that's about the Worcester hip hop scene, which also has a rich history. And that's directed by Kaz Supernova, who will also be in the building and speaking on his film.
That sounds like pretty cool, because you get the director's take on it as well.
Yes, yes.
And I know one thing you wanted to make sure people knew is you're going to be in multiple locations. They are going to switch from day to day?
Yes. So October 12th is going to be at the Nile Rantoval Theater on 25 Exchange Street, the Lynn Arts Building. And then on October 13th, we're screening WBCN and the American Revolution, about the radio station, the rock radio station WBCN, at 2 o'clock. And then we're screening at 4:30 The Road to Ruane, about the Billy Ruane, who's like this very interesting character, but also a promoter that, you know, was pretty much instrumental in getting live music at the Middle East in Cambridge. And that film, The Road to Ruane, is screening at 6:30, and that will be at the Lynn Auditorium.
Okay.
And then we're back on Monday at the Neil Rantoval Theater for the WFNX day that we have. So Julie Kramer will be in the building. She'll be showcasing her photo gallery that, you know, back when WFNX was running, they used to broadcast out of the Lynn Arts building. And so we're literally like in the same building that these great, amazing celebrities, music icons used to walk in, like Lenny Kravitz, Billy Idol, so many Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's so many icons used to walk into that building to get interviewed for WFNX. And Julie Kramer used to, you know, photograph them when they came in. And so her photo gallery is going to be on display, and then we're screening We Want the Airwaves of WFNX Story at 5 p.m. on Monday.
Well, you do. You have a lot happening, a lot going on.
Yeah. This is, like I said, this is our first one. We really wanted to pay homage to WFNX, you know, all the history that you know, has happened in the Lynn Arts building thanks to WFNX. So we're happy about screening that film and having Julie Kramer in the building. I'm obviously excited for the film that I've been working on, so I'm really excited about that. And then the other films as well. I really think people who attend the full 3 days of the festival are going to be able to walk away with so many different you know, bits of history of music in the Boston area, from, you know, WBCN and the greatness that was, you know, the WBCN, the radio station, and as well as the smaller, but also like the underdog radio station WFNX, and then you have, you know, Worcester and Lynn as far as like the hip hop communities that, you know, oftentimes when people think about music, they think about music in Boston. Well, Lynn has a great music community, especially in hip hop, and so does Worcester. And so featuring those films are also, you know, I think people will be able to walk away with a lot of different understanding about what the landscape of music is like in the Boston area.
And also on the 12th, you're going to be talking about the Lynn Hip Hop Wall of Fame as well.
Yes, so we have some updates on that project. So we've been working, you know, over the past 4 years on, you know, making sure that we do something that represents the community, that highlights local artists in the realm of hip hop in Lynn, and do it in a way that not only pays homage to them, but also helps the community recognize who are the people and the leaders within this community that should be, you know, honored. And so I have some updates on that project as well.
I'm being excited to hear about that. This made me want to go to it. Well, I wanted to anyway, but really.
Well, if you do want to go to it, I would love to have you guys all there. You know, for people who are interested in learning more, I know there's a lot going on within those 3 days. If you go to www.lynnfilmfestival.com, we have the schedule there. Links where you can buy tickets or RSVP. I should say that the screening on Saturday and Monday at the Neil Rantoval Theater are free. It's $22 a ticket on the 13th at the Lynn Auditorium. But I hope people come out and enjoy all those films and you know, find out more about what we're doing, and you know, hopefully this is something, you know, that we do every year. This is being the first one. It's a great test run, but we're hoping that we get to do this every year.
And I know you mentioned it a little bit, but what do you hope people, you know, take away from it? Whether they can come to 1 day, all 3 days, what do you really want them to learn?
For me, obviously I'm a music nerd, you know, and that's why, you know, I'm executive director of the Little Music Foundation. But you know, my passion is spotlighting, you know, the great artists that make our community so great. And so over the 3 days, I think people will be able to see a little bit of everything from, you know, people like Billy Ruane, who was also a promoter and supported local bands and was able to work with and give opportunities to, you know, bands who would then go on to, you know, be on major labels and really, you know, become icons. But it starts with the people behind the scenes, and we have a documentary on that. a documentary about the community in Lynn, all sorts of different things that people will walk away from having new knowledge of, maybe something they didn't know about, but also walking away with like, wow, music is important and these people have played a part in it, and it makes me want to get more involved in what's happening. And that's kind of the hope for me, that people take, that away.
And they also get to engage a little bit with whoever created the documentary as well. Like on the 13th, you do have a Q&A session.
Yes, that's right. So we have the directors for both films that's screening on the 13th. Bill Leichenstein, who directed WBCN and the American Revolution, and Scott Evans, who's co-director of The Road to Rowan. They'll be in the house doing a Q&A moderated by Victoria Weiselak, the Boston Globe music columnist. So, I'm sure people will have a lot of thoughts and maybe some questions. And I think having the filmmakers there, we're going to be able to find out more about these great films and the history of both WBCN, but also, the Boston rock scene. So the 13th will be a great day, as well as the 12th and 14th.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're all going to be just so amazing and interesting to see. And you mentioned this a little bit, though. We want the airwaves. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because you're saying there used to be a radio station in the video that you, or in the building that you now are.
So We Want the Airwaves, a WFNX story, directed by Jason Steves, talks about the history of WFNX. WFNX is broadcasted out of Lynn, and so they broadcasted from 1983 to 2012, I believe, and then had like a small stint on just online format. But they were responsible for a lot of the alt rock wave that came into Boston. So they offered something different that maybe WBCN wasn't offering, as far as, the programming that was happening, which was what made radio great back in those days. It's like every station had its own personality, played its own kind of music. And WFNX was that alt rock, new wave, music that, people grew to love. And it was based out of the Lynn Arts Building, broadcasting out of Lynn into Boston, and, had a great following. I, as a kid, I was a hip hop head when I was growing up. Yeah. But I would say that because I turned the dial one day to WFNX, I became a big fan of rock music. But that was because WFNX offered something I hadn't heard before. I think, they just had so many great bands. And just the history itself, like they were a big part of Nirvana's, East Coast, spotlight, like the fact that they got the recognition they did, and part of that is WFNX playing their album, front to back, I think a couple times or something like that. Wow. Back before they were fully recognized, and obviously they're heavy icons now. But, yeah. It's a great history that WFNX left in the Lynn Arts Building, and we're really excited about giving them like a day dedicated to WFNX and the history they left behind.
I am, yeah. So I'm really curious to learn more about that and hear more about that, and all the days of this film festival. And I know I have to wrap up in a moment. Was there anything I hadn't touched upon that you wanted to make sure people knew about?
I would say just the recap is October 13th at the Nile Rental Theater. My film, Lynn Hip Hop documentary, a preview screening. So this won't be the final version. We're still working on it, but this will be a preview screening. And we're hoping that the community just like they know how important this film is. And, they get the sense that something is being created for Lynn with this film festival, but also Lynn is being represented in the film festival as well.
Mm-hmm. And I can hear that in just the way you speak about it, your passion for it, and it makes me really interested to see, what's going to be created in a couple of weeks. So thanks for coming on again to really share this with us.
Thank you. Glad to be back, and hopefully we could see a good turnout that day, those 3 days at the Lynn Film Festival.
Definitely, for sure. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. On deck, the sports update. A rainy defensive battle describes the game between Lynn Tech and Saugus on the 26th. Combining for 9 turnovers, it was the Tigers escaping with a 3-0 victory. Tech recovered a fumble at midfield with just under 11 minutes remaining in the game. They proceeded to march down the field to the Saugus 7, taking 8 minutes off the clock in the process. With 2:03 remaining in the game, Daniel Lemore kicked a field goal to give the Tigers the lead. Saugus did have a chance to tie the game, getting all the way to the Tech 40, but a pass intended for receiver Ryan Shea was picked off by Tech's E.J. Morales to seal the game. On the flip side, Peabody took down Classical 35-14. The Rams gained an early 14-0 lead off 92 and 79-yard catch-and-runs in the first quarter, but the Tanners took over in the second, gaining a 15-4 advantage. The second half was more of the same, as Peabody scored 3 more times. KIPP Academy traveled to Greater Lowell on the 27th and returned home with a 37-30 loss. Despite the score, Panthers quarterback Eli Machado threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 70 yards. After losing their opener, English has won 3 in a row, including hosting and defeating Greater Lawrence Tech 30-19 the night of the 27th. Shane Knowlton-Samard had a monster night, scoring the first 2 touchdowns for the host and picking off Greater Lawrence's QB in the end zone in the third. In the second, the Bulldogs saw their advantage shrink to 3 points, 16-13, but they showed no quit. QB Jaden Rosario completed back-to-back passes to Samar Omsef before finding Limbert Thomas in the end zone to give English back a 24-14 lead after a 2-point conversion. Defense came up big in the fourth, forcing a turnover on downs on a 4th and 5 stop. From there, English ran out the clock, topping off the game with 1 more touchdown. On enemy turf, this one was never in doubt, as St. Mary's posted a 59-7 final over Arlington Catholic, moving to 3-0 in the year. 6 Spartans found the end zone, including 2 apiece by Rowan Merriweather and Maxwell Parent. Parent also added on 3 tackles and an interception. By the 12-minute mark of the second, St. Mary's was already up by 29, highlighted Mayaniel Bellard going 4 for 6 for 2 touchdowns and 86 yards. Lynn Tech Volleyball landed back in the win column, sweeping Innovation 3-0 over the weekend. 3 Tigers contributed multiple aces, including Isaac Castro, who added on 5 digs and 3 kills. The Tigers broke the 500 mark, shutting out Northeast Metro 25-17, 25-22, and 25-14 the evening of the first. Northeastern did take an early 6-2 lead, but Tech found their groove, spreading the wealth as 5 players had major contributions to the victory, including Anna Godi with 13 digs and 3 aces, and Zahara Belizar with 10 assists, 6 digs, and 4 kills. While the 11-1 Rams have secured their spot in postseason play, winning in straight sets over Revere on the 30th. The upperclassmen led the way, including senior Amanda Hughes, registering 9 kills, 8 digs, and 3 aces. They followed this with an inter-city rivalry match against English. Classical was again the victor, sweeping the Bulldogs 3-0, while recording a season-high 24 aces, compared to only 3 by English. For girls soccer, Classical got a much-needed 1-0 win over Shawsheen Tech the night of the 30th. McKenna Duncan netted the lone goal, while Megan Baker registered 11 saves for a shutout performance. They followed this with a dominant 5-0 shutout versus Chelsea on October 1st. Gianna Parker netted 2 herself. The Spartans also found their groove, beginning the week with a 4-1 victory against Arlington Catholic. St. Mary's boys followed suit, shutting out Arlington Catholic 3-0 on the second. Marici Marin netted 2 goals, and Idar Solis tacked on the third. Meanwhile, the English boys recorded their first clean sheet of the year versus Malden, while posting 4 goals of their own. Tied 0-0 at halftime, the Bulldogs turned on the Jets, led by Jose Licardi, who scored the first 2 goals and assisted on the third. Despite injuries up and down the roster, KIPP doubled up on Shawsheen 4-2 last weekend. Alexi Sandoval recorded 2 goals for the Panthers, while Classical landed in the loss column in a tight 1-0 loss to Revere on the third. Golf pitted St. Mary's against longtime rival Bishop Fenwick, where the Spartans had the advantage, driving home 184 points compared to 142. The Blue and Gold followed this up with another win, this time downing the defending Catholic Central League champions Bishop Fian 179-161. With this win, the Spartans move to 9-4 and qualify for the MIAA North Sectionals. The regular season has wrapped up, with the Red Sox grabbing third place in the division at 81-80. They did win the finale 3-1 over the Tampa Bay Rays at Fenway. At 3-1, this season is looking much the same as the last for the Patriots. Pats QB Jacoby Brissett is not totally to blame though, as the offensive line cannot keep him on his feet long enough to throw a pass. Most recently, they fell to the San Francisco 49ers 30-13 on the 29th. Our second interview of the week shifted focus to My Brother's Table 8 Million Meals Walk, occurring on October 13th. Their board president joined us for a discussion about this walk, including the significant impact the table has made on the community for over 40 years. Here is the lowdown. Good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on a special guest, Donna Coppola from My Brother's Table, the board president. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. And you're here to talk about a very exciting event, the My Brother's Table 8 Million Meals Walk.
Exactly. We picked a nice title this year, 8 Million Meal Walk, because we have already served 8 million meals. My Brother's Table started in 1982, so there were a lot of meals served over the years. We're in our 42nd year, but since the pandemic, each year has we've had like 1 million meals served, and we hit this year. Actually, right now we're at 8.2 million meals. So wow, yes,
that's amazing.
It is amazing, and our walk is coming up. So it's really important that we get the message out. We always have a good turnout of people who come and attend the walk. Lots of families come. They want to teach their kids to give back. And a walk is the best place to kind of get your kids involved, so that when they're adults, they understand what has to about giving back. Yeah. It's scheduled for October 13th. And there'll be people there at 1:30 to register people, but you can also register online. You can go to mybrotherstable.org/walk, and you can sign up online. And it'd be a good idea to sign up online, because we'll be picking one person who has signed up for a $250 gift card, an Amazon gift card. Ooh. So it's a little incentive to sign up ahead of time.
And another thing too is people who donate, was it $40 or more, also receive the shirt as well.
Exactly. And we have a nice design on our shirt. We have a local artist from Raw Arts. The artist is Jason Cruz. A lot of people know Jason. Yeah. And this is going to be a different style on our shirt than we normally have. So it's exciting. I think a lot of people will come just to, do the walk and get the shirt.
Yeah, definitely. And where does the walk take place?
The walk takes place on the Lynn Swampscott line, First Church on 40 Monument Avenue in Swampscott. And at 2 o'clock, we head right out. It's a 3-mile walk. So you'll head right down to the beach, go across, and hopefully it's a beautiful day. And I've walked it when there's been rain, and that still is not too bad of a walk. It's still nice. It's a beautiful view of the ocean there. So it's a good walk.
Yeah, you still get a gorgeous view regardless of the day. You're
no
right
matter
on the beach,
what the
right?
day is, exactly. Storm or no storm, sun is better, of course.
Yes, of course. But on the beach, you can't go wrong. And in order to register, is it groups and individuals? Is there any kind of format?
Yes. Yeah, you can register as a group. When you go on, it will let you put all the names of the group on there.
Oh.
And you can, do your tally sheet from there. And those that want to register when they come, they can just come, keep their tallies of who's donated and come on that day. But it's best to do up ahead of time.
Yeah. You recommend ahead of time so you have an idea
ahead of time,
well.
Definitely, so we know We will be bringing all the shirts that we've got ready, but we still would like to have at least an idea. So we'll have water bottles there and snacks there.
And all the funds that you raise, what specifically does it go towards at the table?
Our goal this year is $40,000 to raise. It's a good goal. And every penny of that will go towards meals. Our meal program is from 12 to 4. Anybody is able to come into the table and get a bag lunch. So we'll have sandwiches in it, a snack in it, you'll have a drink. And then from 4 to 6 is a hot meal is served.
Okay.
And we have been open every single solid day for over 13,000 straight days.
Wow.
There have been very, very few days that we have not been open. Even during COVID, we just changed, instead of coming inside, which they couldn't come into our dining room, we did it from trailers. We served the meals from the trailers.
Because now you continue to do both, right? Both dining and then people can do the takeout side.
Right. We just did our whole dining room over.
Ooh,
beautiful dining room. And anybody can come down and if you'd like to say, have a peek of that dining room. But we got a $250,000 grant from Mass General Brigham's to do the dining room over. During COVID, it was all to-go bags and containers, which worked well. And some people prefer that now. They prefer to be able to come and take a to-go container and go back to their place and eat it. Or we've also go back to the old way, where we have our tables and people can come in, have some hospitality and some camaraderie, with other people that are there, and with the volunteers as well, interacting. Some people, it's COVID time was a hard time for them, not a lot of interaction. So they're very happy. That opened back up on May 17th. We had a big ribbon cutting, and the dining room is just beautiful.
I remember I was there for that ribbon cutting.
Yes.
It's a gorgeous space.
It's
they did
really
amazing
nice.
with it.
Yeah, very, very nice. And it's just people are really utilizing it. So that's a good thing, coming in, enjoying, sitting down with others.
Yeah. And you actually created a great segue for that, too. You have several sponsors for this walk as well.
Yes, we do. We've been really blessed to have quite a few. Let's see if I can get them up, because I don't want to miss anybody. For sponsors for the walk, Easton Bank, Institution for Savings, Salem 5 Cents Bank, Techno Tax Inc., Lynn Community Health Center, Knights of Pythias, and Independent Order of Odd Fellows, which we're very thankful for all of them. That helps us with printing the shirts, printing banners, doing whatever it takes to get ready for the walk. So everything that is raised will go directly to meals.
Which is always fantastic.
Yes, yes.
And do you have any idea how many people typically do the walk? Any general numbers on it?
Oh, I would say like 200 to 300 people will come for the walks. This is a time when we have a lot of kids from schools. Like Pickering Middle School, Swampscott Middle School, Lynn Tech is always a big one. They come down, and there'll be quite a few kids that will walk it, and they'll raise money and bring the money in. So it's that kind of time. But there's a lot of families. There's a lot of other people who have been there for like the 42 years that my brother's table has been around, and they don't want to miss anything that the table has, to support us. So it really goes across ages and across, demographics, really. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen the line of people walking.
Yes.
The visual of it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have those that they collect, but then they weren't able to walk, whether they had work or church, because it is on a Sunday. So there's different reasons why they can't, but they get their sponsor things into us. Yeah.
And I am curious, just ask one more question about the design. So it's someone carrying all the containers, and the number has a significance too.
Yes,
right?
there's 8 containers, and each container represents 1 million meals. And then our iconic apple on the top. The apple has been part of my brother's table for a long time. And, you know, that was a nice touch on the very top of it. When people see it, they know the apple is for the table.
That's very clever. I do like it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it in person.
Yeah, I know. I am too. I'm excited to see the design. And I will ask one question because I'm just curious. You said it really... It's become very common that you serve, you know, 1 million meals a year since COVID.
Yeah.
Do you really think that was the driving factor that all of a sudden so many people started using the table?
Most definitely. Yeah. That was a hard time, the start of COVID. You had people that had no place to turn for you know, food and meals, and were looking for places, you know. So that's when it's become the biggest. But it also just seems like people are struggling with rent, paying bills, things like that. So, you know, we have families that will come, you know, to share a meal there, or to get it to go for their family. So it's very different than what it might have been many years ago for people coming in. But whoever comes, we take no government funding at all, because if we take government funding, we may have to do documentation or check, you know, names and IDs, and that's not what the table is about. The table is there for people to be nourished, you know, with food, as well as you know, just having a kind word from somebody for the day. So that's really important.
Well, you all do a phenomenal job with the work you do. You can see the impact of it. And I do have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that I hadn't mentioned?
No, I just thank you, and I hope everybody, you know, comes down and joins us that day, gets on, and remember, just mybrothers.org/walk. Sign up ahead of time.
All right. Perfect. I could not have said anything better myself. I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. Next up, the community calendar. Tomorrow the 5th, the Floating Bridge Pond Association is hosting a full-scale cleanup of the Floating Pond Park and Buchanan Bridge. If you're interested, meet at the intersection of Victory Road and Western Ave at 9 a.m. Supplies for the cleanup will be provided, along with coffee, water, and snacks. Volunteering can also be applied to community service hours. If you've ever wanted to experience Latin dance, then the City of Lynn and Cultural Latina Dance Academy have the event for you. These groups, in collaboration with Eastern Bank's Latins in Action Resource Group, will be holding a free salsa dance lesson on October 8th in the Lynn Auditorium. Beginning at 5:30, all are welcome to attend, whether you're an experienced dancer or trying for the first time. This lesson will teach participants the basics of salsa while also experiencing the fun of Latin dance. It will also be the final event in a series of Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations being held by the city. High Rock Tower is completing a 3-month Starry Night series, with the final one occurring on October 9th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Registration is required as there is a 15-person limit in the dome. A secondary telescope will be available outside on the lawn for those who cannot or do not wish to traverse the stairs to the top of the tower. This event will be canceled if the forecast calls for mostly cloudy skies, so a cancellation or confirmation email will be sent by 2 p.m. the day of the event. That is all the news for this week. Keep up with all that is happening in the city, from holiday celebrations to community service events, by following us on social media at Lynn Community Television. To see our staff and member content, the complete community calendar, and learn more about becoming a member, go to lyntv.org. If videos from event coverage to PSAs are more your thing, head to Lynn Community Television on YouTube. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, North Shore Community College, Leo Inc., Brotherhood Credit Union, and Daoulas Brothers Construction.